Hi, I'm Neil, and welcome to Selling Your Craft for a Lucrative Career. In this presentation, we will look into the performance consultant profession and learn some tips on how a consultant can engage a potential client. Before we get started, in the next slide, read the displayed definition and answer the question. Have you chose a profession? Great. Well, the definition belongs to both professionals. Here, you can see the similarities in their duties. Just like the salesman, consultants have a product or service that people are unaware is a need. It is their job to find potential clients and educate them in a tactful manner about their need for a service that improves their performance. But before you can tell your story, you have to get the client interested in your profession. Here are some tips. Research the client. Become well informed about their field, business and achievements. This information will help with speaking the client's language, show your knowledge of the field and structure your questions. Self-regulation. Review the issues faced by beginner therapists such as tolerance of ambiguity, resisting the urge to immediately administer advice and understanding silence are just to name a few. Being aware of what you can become susceptible to can prevent surprise anxieties during the engagement. Learn the art of cold calls. Clients are not receptive when you sound like a telemarketer or bill collector. There is a host of informational videos that provide tips and tricks to establish rapport with the caller. Make a lunch date. Who doesn't like free food? Your potential client will find more comfort in a less formal setting. Get them talking. Their story holds valuable information about the topics that they value and the concerns they have. Remember the 738-55 rule. Psychology professor Albert Mehrabian concluded that during a conversation, the basic three elements of face-to-face communication are 55% body language, 38% tone of voice and 7% verbal. Body mirroring is said to be a great body language technique that builds quick rapport and understanding. Speak from an author's perspective. By providing relatable stories, you allow the client freedom to choose from the topics, theories and techniques you have to offer them. Be specific. All the work you have learned in the classroom is the foundational knowledge meant for your understanding. The client needs practical know-how, where you creatively connect the theoretical models and change frameworks to specific issues. Win over a resisting client by validating their experience. When you acknowledge that you understand their dilemma instead of defending your profession, you get the opportunity to highlight your value as a consultant. The next slide will contain a short mock interview with powerlifting business owner Jeff Browden of BSD Powerlifting. Prior to the interview, Olivia conducted a cold call presenting herself as a consultant and educator interested in gaining Mr. Browden's perspective of the mental aspects that go into coaching. Olivia acclaimed his ability to find practical wisdom from his life's opportunities and challenges. She suggested they conduct the meeting over lunch.
So, Mr. Browden, let's jump right in. I know that balance can be linked to a host of fitness-related aspects, but what does it mean to you?
Mr. Browden speaks on the intertwine of mind, body, and spirit. He believes a lack of focus in either of those areas can be the cause of a negative lift.
I agree that a lack of concentration can pose challenges to the execution of a lift. What strategies do you give your team to combat that?
Mr. Browden acknowledges the use of imagery to remove negative thoughts and changing their negative speech in the moment. He has found that verbally minimizing the weight instead of thinking 315 pounds, the performer might say, lightweight as they attempt the lift.
Oh, that's interesting. It sounds similar to a model used in therapy known as rational emotive behavior therapy. You replace their irrational self-talk with a new motivational sentence that minimizes the weight of the plates. I experienced a similar situation where I used figure formation process. This is where we organize the experiences moment to moment. So during the time that they're wrapping their knees, they would hype themselves up listening to motivational music. They imagine keeping their form and staying tight with their core. The background noise does not break their focus. And right before they perform the lift, they imagine the end lockout. A lot of performance psychologists are implementing these techniques. Because the game is mental, have you had any experience working with performance psychologists?
Mr. Brubin has heard of performance consultants, but does not see where they could fit in his team's dynamics.
Performance psychology is no longer a well-kept secret due to its ability to produce healthy habits to perform consistently at high levels in pressure situations. You need to understand how we define performance, which it has been broken down into 3 attributes: knowledge, basic rule and techniques; skills, their strengths and weaknesses; and abilities, which are their capacity. The goal is for the person to develop the knowledge, master the strengths of their skills, and maintain the peak of their potential, with the intent of them gaining mastery of the field. To ensure consistency and reliability in their action for execution, performance psychology studies the human traits that encompass all 3 attributes. This integrative discipline can be applied to workers in corporate America, performing artists, military personnel, and any other domain with a performance component. Many have adopted the practice to avoid falling behind their competitors. We see coaching being synonymous with teaching, and we operate with that respect and work as supporting staff with the team. Getting in the zone physically requires muscle memory, but the game is 90% mental. For the client facing issues with staying in the zone, we create customized mental readiness plans to improve their mental approach. When there is a breakdown in communication, we map the informal and formal groups to address conflict. As the gap between success and failure grows larger in our society, they seek out an addition to the team to meet the demands of producing optimal level performers.
Mr. Brubin becomes curious about the services they can provide to his team. He then tells Olivia that he believes successful men take calculated risk, and he wants to know what makes her business a necessity to his team.
As a performance consultant, the heart of my practice is the appreciation I have for conducting research and staying abreast in this technologically savvy world. Sports will continue to evolve. In football, the kickoff line has been changed 3 times. In baseball, helmets weren't mandatory till the 70s, and the same will happen to the field of powerlifting. My educational background in physical therapy, hands-on personal training in powerlifting, ability to conduct pattern recognition, and genuine interest in adaptive training equipment will provide a fresh perspective to the issues you currently face. I recognize the value of BSD powerlifting and the abundant potential it has to offer the industry, and I would like the opportunity to collaborate with your team. I have practiced with other sports professionals how to avoid suboptimal gains, injuries, and burnouts. I am knowledgeable in the application of evidence-based change models that can address the negative thoughts your members experience that attribute to false lifts. By drawing on your past personal records, we can find the intrinsic motivation that maintains concentration. Ultimately, what drives me is that I believe every life is a platform, and my job is to enhance their performance so that they can inspire the next person.
This concludes the mock interview portion of this presentation. I hope you gained some helpful knowledge in your consultation journey. Remember to be genuine with your clients and never sell yourself short.